I'm Joseph Gasser. Thank you for taking the time to start watching this video. I hope you'll learn something from it, find it useful, and actually watch the whole thing. The objectives are to describe the system's approach to planning, to show how it differs from the traditional approach, to show how prevention is built in and that the benefits of prevention can be demonstrated, and to provide you with 3 useful planning tools. So if I frame the problem using the tool that I described in the last video, the undesirable situation is that in general we don't do planning very well, and this results in plans that are incomplete and unusable. FCFDS is a situation where plans are complete, comprehensive, and usable. And the problem is to figure out a way to realize that FCFDS and then teach it. Because one of the reasons we're in this situation, or in this undesirable situation, is we don't teach very well how to do planning. And it's not just creating a new template, it's rethinking the way we do planning. And the solution is the system's approach to planning. So the topics I'm going to cover very briefly are 3 streams of work, working back from the answer, product-based planning, work packages, PAM charts and networks, numbering in 3s, and then prevention, which is also part of risk management. 3 streams of work. If you think about the work that's done on a project, the work consists of activities in series and parallel, and they are performed in 3 streams between milestones. And each activity produces a product using resources taking time. And we generally show the time in Gantt charts. So if you look at our milestones and the 3 streams of work, those 3 streams of work are high-level streams, and you can see that that high-level management stream is broken up into 4 sequential management activities or tasks. Similarly, the development stream is broken up into another 4 development tasks, and the test or the quality stream is also broken up into 5 tasks. And although I've shown 5 sequential tasks here, some of those tasks, there may also be other tasks done in parallel depending on what's going on in the project. Now, in the previous slide I showed you one view of the activities. Here I give you the structural perspective, and this is a work breakdown structure. So you can see that I've got high-level activities numbered 100, 200, 300, and they break down into tasks. So the convention I'm using is a high level is an activity, a lower level is a task, but then if you actually look up the dictionary definitions of activities and tasks, they're the same. And you can notice that my 100 activities break up into 110, 120. Similarly, the 200 activities all start with 200, or the tasks in the 200 activities all start in the 200. So this numbering system lets me identify where the high level associated with a task. Or I can show it from the functional perspective as a flow chart where you see the high level activities in series, and they're all done in between milestones. Now the first tool I want to introduce you to is a work package. And a work package documents all the activities that are everything that's going on with an activity. So it's got an identification number, a name of the task, a priority. This priority links back to the requirements or the reason for doing the work. And the reason for the priority is that if there is a budget cut somewhere in the middle of the project, then it's the low priority tasks are the ones that are going to be cut by definition. There's no need to wonder what comes out. And then there's a narrative or a description of the task, the schedule, the products that are being produced, and the acceptance criteria for the products. This is how will we know when the product meets the need? The estimated cost to do that work and approximate accuracy of the cost estimate. The reason it's being done. This is important when change requests come in. Sometimes it's not immediately obvious why an activity is being done. And so the reason is in there. Traceability to the source. I mean, why are we doing this work? What are the prerequisites, or which milestones, and what products have to be completed before we can start the work? The resources, that's people, equipment, material, etc. The name of the person responsible. The risks, their probability, seriousness, and which work package are they being mitigated in? And I'll come back to that in a moment. Any lower level work packages, if any decision points inside that work package. What about internal key milestones if this work package is broken up into a number of lower level work packages? And what assumptions are implicit in doing the work that are not stated elsewhere? And I've shown it in 2 columns, but generally when you use this tool it's a single column. And you generally put this in a spreadsheet. So when you do the planning, this is the second tool I want to introduce you to. It's a conceptual tool. It's a way of doing things. You conceptualize a vision of the FCFDS, and then you work back from the answer. So the FCFDS is your target, and then you figure out, working back, what did it take to get to the target? And those are the 500 level activities. And then what did it take to get there before it? So for example, if you're building a system, well, the 500 level activities would deal with the system level integration and testing, because you can't deliver the system until it's integrated and testing. Well, you can't integrate the system until you've got the parts, and the parts have to be tested. So they would end up in the 400 level, and so on. And before the 400 level, you've got the 300 level, the 200 level, and the 100 level tasks. Now, in very large projects, major systems acquisitions, those may be formal milestones like system requirements review, preliminary design review, critical design review. On less complex and simpler projects, they may be informal milestones. But generally, when you break up the work into a series of activities, you can always use the 3 streams of work between milestones template. That should be another tool, shouldn't it? And then you document the process as a forward-looking plan. And you might want to use the waterfall view that I've shown here on this slide. Now, numbering. Traditional project management doesn't put any importance in the numbering. The systems approach uses the numbering to help you identify missing elements in the plan. So the format of the numbers are N00-XX, where N is the state in the process and N is the next milestone. XXX is the stream of work, and the numbers in the stream of work are something like this. 000 is the highest level activities and contains all streams of work. 1XX, or that would be numbers in the 100 series, are management. 2 is development. 3 test and quality. And in the 9 is the product. You then add the project number for your organization as a prefix or a suffix, and you then add the specific resource number as needed. And this allows you to collect information, and you can identify the cost of all the management work, all the development work. And for example, if in your organization 220 is software development and 230 is hardware development, you can then work out what the cost of the software, what the cost of the hardware, and so on are. And you use the same numbers. So if 20 is a specific piece of software that runs on a specific piece of hardware, 220 would be the software development, 230 would be the hardware development for that specific item, and 920 would be the actual piece of equipment. And so the numbers all line up and match. Now, here is an example of that numbering scheme in a partial PERT chart for a project. Ignore MCSSRP and MCSS because I've just taken these slides out of my teaching lecture. And so you've got the major milestones 400 and 500, and between 400 and 500 all the work splits up into streams of work. You've got intermediate milestones 410, 415, 420 and so on, and the critical path is shown in red as you can see it. So those of you in management should know what a PERT chart is. But now I want to introduce you to another tool. It's a Product-Activity-Milestone chart, PAM. And this is used in working back from the answer. You go to the last milestone, and each milestone has products that are delivered at that milestone that will be transferred to the next phase or state of the work. Each product is produced by an activity using resources, and the numbers match. So the milestone, the product, and the activity numbers match, and as you can see here. And the way you use this is as I'm showing here. The last milestone is a working MCSS, and I've just picked two of the products to bring out the software, and there would be other arrows for the other products. And so you start building the network from the end. And so you can see you've got the intermediate milestones, more work, more milestones, more work, more milestones, and so on. And you build this up as a high level and low level. So here is a partial PAM chart for identifying the project network. And you can see that for simplicity, I've dropped the numbers and I'm just showing the first digit. So you can see that milestone 8 produces products 8-1 and 8-2, and product 8-1 uses activities 8-1. Product 8-2 uses resource 8-2, and notice that there are no resources assigned to activity 8, gap, immediately identifiable. On the other hand, 2-1, the resources and the activities are there, and then you've got this milestone 7, which has got a product and activity, but it's not going anywhere. So something is missing. The PAM provides the big picture, the work packages contain the details. All products are produced by activities, the products are signed off at the milestones, activities must start and end at the milestones, and activities use resources. And the PAM triptych numbers must match, and the triptych numbers and the work packages are self-similar. So as you go down lower and lower in the detail, you've got the same scheme. So this immediately, if you've got an activity in your database, but there's no milestone, where does that activity end? Or if you've got an activity and there's no product, what's the activity doing? Or if you've got a product and there's no activity, how was that product produced? Somebody waved their magic wand. And in this chart, I've used P and A and R just to sort of point them out because you're not familiar with the numbering scheme that I showed you on the previous slide. And this is where the benefits of prevention come in. And this is why working back from the answer gives you allows you to show the benefit of prevention. When you start at the end, you can identify risks to completion of that activity, and that risk goes in the work package. So you start here at the end, and then you identify a risk. So that risk goes in the work package, and you then can mitigate that risk in an earlier work package. So for example, a risk identified in A-1, right there when you're planning it, you're going to mitigate or prevent that risk way up front in the timeline in A3-1. So this clearly shows the prevention activities, and the work packages in A-1 and A3 in A8-1 and A3-1 will clearly show the risk where it's identified in A8 and where it's been mitigated in A3. And the software tool should show you the link and test to make sure that the link is there. And so here you end up with risk management built in and prevention built in. Because the moment you identify a risk in A8-1 or some of the other later activities, there has to be a corresponding risk mitigation activity earlier in the project. So summarizing prevention. In our typical approach now, prevention is difficult to justify because if it didn't happen, would it have happened? So we do it haphazardly. In the systems approach, we start from the last state of the project, we create the set of work packages for the project, we identify the risks when creating each work package because the risks are associated with a work package, and we mitigate the risks identified in a work package by an activity in a work package to be performed earlier in time. So for example, a risk identified in work package 432 is going to be mitigated in work package 332. And risk and prevention activities are clearly identified in both work packages. If you want to look at the links between the work packages, we show the links in different ways in different charts. PERT charts show the dependencies in management chart language. Gantt charts and tables don't show links. They just show the schedule and whatever else the table is being used for. A PAM chart is an input or a planning tool. It's not a display tool. So you don't show that in management summaries. So in summary, in this short video I talked about the 3 streams of work, working back from the answer, product-based planning, work packages, PAM charts and networks, numbering 3s and the benefits thereof, prevention and risk management, and how the prevention activities are clearly identified. So I met the objectives. I described the systems approach to planning and showed how it differs from the traditional approach, showed you how prevention is built into the approach, and that the benefits of prevention can be demonstrated, and provided you with 3 useful planning tools: the concept of working backwards from the end, the PAM chart, and the work package. Thank you for watching this presentation. Any questions or comments in the blog area? Take care.